But the reality is that this civilization we have is retarded and collectively insane. And we have been retarded, and it's been a plan, it's a program. And when the hidden truth and the forbidden knowledge of the book gets known by everyone, here's what you're going to rewrite: history, science and technology, physics, archaeology, anthropology, Orthodox religion. Goodbye. It's all. And as the REM song says, it's the end of the world as we know it. And I feel fine. And you know what? It's long overdue. It's like, boom. We should have had this done 50 to 100 years ago. And so consequences from a metasystem analysis point of view of staying with a wrong trajectory. And as the wonderful Chinese expression goes, unless we change directions, we're likely to end up where we're going. Where are we going? Okay, and that becomes the big issue. We are headed towards a terminus. And the reason we are is because we have a civilization that has been hijacked by folks who have deliberately diseducated the public for the last 100 years about the fundamental truths of science, electromagnetism, history, everything. So this has to do with the demagogue type approach to controlling the masses. And you tell a lie, you tell it often, you tell it enough, and people buy it. But you know what? Most people now know that something's very wrong, and they're fed a bunch of nonsense. And so that's why I wrote this last book. I thought it was time to really go into the detail of what the hidden truth and this forbidden knowledge is, and put it out there for the public to know. My own journey in this was one that was an unexpected one, and from one level, and very planned on another level. Because almost everything I've done since I was, about born, but certainly since I was 17 when I had my near-death experience I discussed earlier, was seen and downloaded to me in a packet-like download in that state of cosmic consciousness. And the rest of it is just playing out. But I had to decide I would do it. See, the old expression, many are called but few are chosen, is wrong. It's many are called but few choose to answer the call. It's a mistranslation. This is the sphere of free will. We have to choose to do this. And we have the world, exactly the world, that we have chosen to allow to be. And not to act is the same as acting if the actors are bad players and you're not creating the change needed to contain it and direct it elsewhere. So at this point, wrestling with these lions on the level of normal hand-to-hand combat, we have to do it on a level of a higher state of consciousness, rooted in the development of truly enlightened cosmic consciousness and the power of its application. I'll tell you a dream I had back in 1997 that illustrates this really well. Around that time, in the couple years before that, between the lines of what I've been trying to do and have been doing, we made a lot of friends and a lot of people who didn't like what we were doing. I took this material and all these top secret witnesses, got them to get out of their national security oaths trap and the documents and put them out to the public. You can see it in these books and on our website, disclosureproject.org. But in the meanwhile, I was having all these meetings with Bill Clinton's folks and the White House staff and his CIA director. And there were some folks not happy with this. And I was told, there's some folks not happy with what you're doing. I said, too bad, so sad. This is what we're going to do. It has to be done. But in those days, we didn't quite have the strategic security we have in place now. We were very vulnerable because this was started, of course, in the 90s. And Disclosure Project really didn't get going until 93. So in the years after that, there were a number of horrific things that happened. 3 people on our team were killed, murdered. I got metastatic cancer, as did my right-hand assistant, and she died within about 6 months. And I was very angry about that. I was unhappy with this, of course, and it was devastating. And if you don't know what radionic and psychotronic weapon systems are, or have never been in the receiving end of one, oof. So anyway, I mean, it's a non-local, a longitudinal scalar nuclear weapon bombed on you. And so with all the things that we were trying to do and do, it didn't help. We had these terrible losses. And I'll never forget, after Bill Colby was murdered, trying to help us. He was a former CIA director who, a colonel who was his best friend, had set up a meeting between my board and Bill Colby. Because Bill Colby was reaching the end of his ride on this plane, and he knew this needed to be known. He knew the truth had to come out. He wanted it out. He knew we were destroying the planet. And he was going to meet with us, and the week he was going to meet with us, they found him floating down the Potomac River, and he was murdered. And the colonel, who was his best friend, came to my best friend's funeral wake, Sherry Adamack, God bless her. And Sherry came, the colonel came to Sherry's house, and he looked at me and said, "Both have had terrible losses, but we can't look back. We have to keep going forward." It was very poignant. And I said, "Yeah, but how? What do we do?" And finally someone surfaced from that world who said, "Do you want protection on that level against lethal?" I said, "Yes." I said, "Do it." It had been offered for years, and I didn't want to go there. And I said, "Make it so." And so now we're fine. Although, I hitting speed bumps that they're trying to throw up, but they don't do that anymore because it'll come back at them. This is a struggle for planet Earth, and you're going to hear some things that you may be disturbed by, but every word is the truth. We are in the center of the struggle for planet Earth and its future, and it is of cosmic importance. It is of importance not just to the planet, but to other star systems, other realms, and all the way to the celestial Godhead. It is all being watched. Forget the slogan of the 60s, the whole world's watching, the whole cosmos is watching. And we have got to get this right. Now, in the context of these experiences, I had this dream. I was over in England. We were doing one of these expeditions that we do where we train people to go into cosmic awareness. And I teach a technique, which is on this meditation CD. I don't know if it's up here. It's this one. And I finally went to a professional studio and did it, so you don't do it while you're driving, because you'll theta wave out and fly off into the cosmos. But literally, it's really very good. But what happened was that, during this turmoil, we were sitting in this manor house that we had our team, and we were going to the crop circles and doing these. And then, of course, you've all heard of the 1992 landing. We had an extraterrestrial vehicle that appeared right near in Alton Barnes, about 10 feet above the ground, signaling to us, and we actually were on board the craft in consciousness and communicating, resonating back and forth. We'll get into this in a little while. But we were doing this, but I didn't feel like going out that particular night because I had just had all these things happen. I had a metastatic malignant melanoma, which is the deadliest of all. I was not expected to live long. And Sherry, my best friend, had metastatic breast cancer that had already gone to other organs in her body. And we were sitting in this room and upset, of course. And all of a sudden, I'd asked our team to go out and do their field work without us that night. I'm sitting in this room upstairs, the bay window, his old 1600s house, and here comes this object about the size of my fist, maybe a little bigger. Through the window, stops, it's this scintillating orb, moves over to the fireplace and elongates, and it's about a 3-foot high extraterrestrial being. And he was there giving us his love and condolences, but gratitude for the work we were doing on behalf of the cosmic good. And Sherry and I just were awestruck. And this was very real. Lights on like this, you can see it. Beautiful. Now, I would have never given mention to this, except that the team that was out on the manor house grounds of this old estate or out